Your phone is playing music, loading map, scanning emails, and running WhatsApp all at the same exact moment. How? A GPU is rendering 120 frames per second for a game, while an AI model is inferring a million parameters simultaneously. How? The answers to the above of this question is parallel processing. Today we are going to break down exactly what it is, how multi-core CPUs implementing it, what rows lens governs its limit, and what tools the industry uses to build the parallel system. Let's get into it. Now let us understand what exactly the parallel processing means. The parallel processing is a computational model where multiple instructions are executed simultaneously rather than one after the other. In serial processing, every instruction must complete before the next one starts. The processor works like a single lane road. One car moves, then the next, and on the other hand, in the parallel processing, the multiple instructions execute concurrently across the multiple processors or cores. Multiple lanes are moving at once. मतलब सीरियल में एक काम खत्म होगा तभी दूसरा स्टार्ट होगा, लेकिन पैरेलल प्रोसेसर में सब काम एक साथ चल रहे हैं. The primary objective of parallel processing is running the total execution time, increasing the throughput, which means more tasks can be completed per unit time, and making the efficient use of available hardware resources. Now let us understand the type of parallelism. So basically, the parallelism is classified into the three different types. The first type is the data parallelism. In this, the same operation is applied to the different subsets of the large data set simultaneously across the multiple cores. For example, let us take a summing up 1 million elements of array by dividing it into the three chunks and assigning each chunk to the separate core. एक बड़ा डेटा सेट है जो छोटे छोटे पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करेंगे और हर कोर एक पार्ट का काम करेगी. ये डेटा पैरेललिज्म है. और नाउ द नेक्स्ट टाइप इज द टास्क पैरेललिज्म. It means that the different independent tasks executed concurrently. One core handles the user's input, the second handles the network communication, and the third handles the database writes, all simultaneously, no dependency between them. And the third type is instruction level parallelism. This means that inside the CPU itself, the processor identifies the instructions that have no data dependency on each other executions and executes them parallelly within a single clock cycle using techniques like pipelining and a superscalar execution. In this, the CPU के अंदर ही ये सब काम होता है. प्रोसेसर खुद डिटेक्ट करते हैं कि कौन से इंस्ट्रक्शन एक साथ चलेगी बिना किसी डिपेंडेंसी के. नाउ द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज Flyn's taxonomy.
Now let's get into the Flyn's taxonomy. So basically this was proposed by Michael Flynn. Flynn ने पैरेलल सिस्टम्स को इंस्ट्रक्शंस और डेटा स्ट्रीम्स के बेसिस पे कैटेगराइज किया है. ये क्लासिफिकेशन आज भी इंडस्ट्रीज में स्टैंडर्डाइज है. So basically these are divided into 4 types. The most important one is MIMD, because every modern multi-core CPU you are using right now falls under this category. Each core runs its own instruction stream on its own data completely independently.
Now the next topic is performance laws and matrices. There are 3 key laws and matrices that defines the performance of any parallel system. We will cover this topic by directly looking into the formula. The first formula is of the speed up. This formula states that it measures how many times the parallel version is over the sequential version. The second formula is of efficiency. It measures how effectively the processors are being utilized.
Now let's get into the laws. The third one, the Amdahl's law. The Amdahl's law states that in the serial portion of your program is hard ceiling on speed up, regardless of how many processors you add. On the other hand, the fourth one, which is Gustafson's law, says that scale the problem as per the hardware. It means that जितना भी आपका प्रॉब्लम बड़ा होगा उतना ही आपको हार्डवेयर लेना है. Both are kind of contradictory to each other. The Gustafson's law says that you can overcome the ceiling by increasing the amount of hardware. Now let's get into the challenges of parallel systems. So I have categorized or considered four main challenges. First one is race condition. I am damn sure you might have come through this word race condition. What it says is two or more cores access and modify the same shared memory location concurrently, and the final result depends on the order of execution, which is completely non-deterministic. This produces bugs that are extremely difficult to reproduce and debug. The next one is deep deadlock. This is also one of the most important and one of the highest critical challenge in any kind of system, including DBMS and operating systems. It says that two threads are waiting for each other for a certain resource which is held by each other. Neither can proceed and the system completely halts. This can bring down production services in real world deployments. The third one to understand is the cache coherence. Cache coherence states that when multiple cores maintain private cache and one core's cache becomes stale if another core handles or modifies the shared data. Hardware protocols like MESI, which stands for Modified Exclusive Shared Invalid, enforces certain consistency across all those caches, but that's add on a latency a lot. The fourth one is load imbalancing. The load imbalancing states that whether if one core is, for example, receiving 80% of the workload and others are idle, the system wastes resources and the bottleneck core dominates total execution time. Proper load balancing is a design requirement, not an afterthought.
Now let us begin with the multi-core CPU architecture. So a multi-core CPU architecture is a single physical chip that contains a multiple independent processing cores, and each core have its own ALU, control unit, register file and a dedicated L1 and L2 cache. एक चिप के अंदर मल्टीपल इंडिपेंडेंट प्रोसेसर्स होते हैं और हर एक चिप अपना अपना खुद का काम करता है और उसके साथ अपनी खुद की कैश मेमोरी होती है. This cores share a last level cache. It is also referred to as an LLC or L3 cache, which acts as a common memory pool before the request goes to the main memory, or you can say RAM. Each core is fully capable of independently fetching, decoding, executing, and writing back instruction into its own pipeline without any dependency on the other cores, unless shared data is involved in it. जब तक एक कोर एक दूसरे के शेयर डेटा नहीं यूज कर रहे होते हैं वो कंप्लीटली इंडिपेंडेंट होते हैं और कोई डिपेंडेंसी नहीं होती है हर एक कोर के बीच में. The system bus connects all the cores and the LLC to the memory controller, which interfaces with the main memory. On the modern architecture, this is implemented as a ring bus or the mesh interconnected to reduce the latency between the cores. This is why a dual core CPU is not simply twice as fast as the single core. The communication overhead, cache coherence, and the memory bandwidth constraints all reduces to a theoretical 2x gain. सिर्फ कोर काउंट बढ़ाने से परफॉर्मेंस डबल नहीं होती है. कम्युनिकेशन कॉस्ट और मेमोरी बैंडविड्थ एक हार्ड लिमिट सेट करते हैं.
Now let us understand the topic using Blender animations. So here we have designed an animation which showcases the classic instruction pipeline. It is having five instructions or five stages rather. First one is instruction fetch. Now what it does is the CPU reads the next instruction from the instruction cache using the program counter. The next instruction to be used is stored in the program counter, right? So the instruction fetch must be carried out. It is the very first step in every machine cycle. The next one is the instruction decode. Now what it does is the binary instruction is decoded into control signals. The processor does not understand binary language, it understands control signals, and that is the reason why instruction decode step is also very important. The third one is execution. Now, the arithmetic logical unit or ALU performs the operations, let's say arithmetic or logical operations, in this stage. So, each and every instruction is being executed in this stage. Next one is memory access. For loading instructions or from reading the data from data cache or data register, memory access is very important step. If an operation requires a data to be bring from memory to ALU, this is very important. The last one in this is the write back. Write back, what is does is the final result of any operation from ALU is written back to a certain register file, and that is the reason why write back operation is also considered as one of the key operations in pipeline. Now let's come to the one of the most important topic of our today's video, which is multi-core architecture. So here we have taken example of 4 cores, and this is the core 0, and the core 0 indicates that it is a completely independent processing unit with its own execution pipeline, which we have just discussed earlier. Below that, its own L1 and L2 cache and CPU core 2 along with the interconnection of bus, and below that we are having a shared level 3 cache between all 4 cores. Now let's get into the SIMD, which stands for single instruction multiple data. This is the memory source array. It is actually the place where the source data array sits in the data cache or data RAM. And moving towards next is the memory vector load. Actually, it is a single 256-bit VMOVs which loads 8 single precision floats from a 32-byte signed memory address. And this is actually the multiple data part of the SIMD. This is the scalar output, which is actually the final output which is generated after 8 sequential ALU operations which are performed per loop iteration. Now let's get into the real world example, the chef analogy. So here, look at the image 1. Here we are having one chef and 5 dishes need to be prepared. The chef can only work on one dish at a time. So he prepares dish 1 completely, then moves to dish 2, dish 3, 4, 5 sequentially. Dishes 2 to 5 are in a waiting state while the entire dish 1 is being prepared. There is no parallelism here. This is a pure serial execution. एक शेफ एक काम बाकी सब वेट कर रहे हैं. ये एग्जैक्टली सीरियल प्रोसेसिंग है. सीपीयू एक प्रोसेस कंप्लीट करता है फिर दूसरा उठाता है. The chef here represents the CPU. Each dish represents a process or a task. This is how a single core CPU works.
Now, let us look at into the image 2. This image states that there are 5 chefs in total and one dish, the different stages. Now look at the image 2. The dish is the same, but now we have the 5 chefs. Each chef is handling a different stage of the same dish preparation simultaneously. The chef 1 is setting the plates, chef 2 is preparing the ingredients, and the chef 3 is boiling the rice. Chef 4 is handling the seasoning. Chef 5 is waiting for the final plating stage. This is an instruction level parallelism, specifically pipelining. Each stage of the task is handling by different processing unit. Here, a different chef and each stage executes concurrently. एक काम के अलग अलग स्टेजेस अलग अलग कोड्स पर साइमल्टेनियसली चल रहे हैं. ये पाइपलाइनिंग पैरेललिज्म है. इधर सेम डिश अलग अलग स्टेजेस के साथ काम कर रहा है. In CPU terms, each step is a core. The dish is an instruction set and the stages are fetch, decode, execute and the write block. The classic instruction pipeline. Notice, at any given moment, one chef is working on a specific part of the dish. But because all stages are active simultaneously, the total throughput is drastically higher than the single chef scenario, which we had saw above.
Now let's look at the image third. Third image says that the dish is done. Look at the time it took. Compared to the single chef scenario, it is significantly less. But here is where it gets interesting. What if I tell you, in some cases, those 5 chefs are not actually working parallelly. They are switching between tasks so rapidly that it only appears parallel. This is the concept of context switching. The operating system switches the CPU between processes at such a high frequency, measured even in milliseconds or nanoseconds, that the user perceives all processes are running simultaneously. In reality, at hardware level, only one process is using the core at a given nanosecond. Right now, you are having, let's say, 10 browsers open in your tab, right? Do all they run simultaneously? No. This is the concept of the OS context switching. OS context switches between them so fast, scheduling each one in its own time slice, that your brain cannot detect the gaps between them. That is the illusion of parallelism on a single core. True parallelism requires true simultaneous execution on multiple physical cores. Context switching is concurrency, not parallelism, and understanding the difference is very critical for any system designer. Concurrency और parallelism same नहीं है. Concurrency is equal to fast switching, while parallelism is equal to actual simultaneous execution on different cores. There are certain tools that are used for achieving parallelism. I'm not going to list down all of them, but let's say that mostly used three are OpenMP, OpenMPI, and NVIDIA CUDA.